you're planning to play more golf in your retirement years and you're ramping up your game, but your body is not liking it, well, I have 4 tips to share with you today to help you do that. Hi, I'm Margaret Mueller-Guide, registered physiotherapist, with tips on keeping you healthy through aging with exercise. So today it's all about golf. Tip number 1 is getting to the golf course and actually preparing your muscles to optimize your posture at address. So we want to stretch both our pecs and our lats. Pec muscles, a nice easy stretch is really just bringing your club across your chest wall, getting the elbows down, opening up. Good. And then we can go from this position to arms straight up overhead and do a nice long stretch where you're elongating your side body one way and then elongating your side body the other way. Lastly, to practice hinging from your hips and to stretch your lats a little bit further would be bringing your club arm's length away, getting your butt behind you, letting your head come down, soft bend in your knees, and give yourself a nice long stretch through your lats. Excellent. Good. And now we're ready to do our posture at address. And that's tip number 2. So with tip number 2, we all know physiologically that we get a lot more rotation when the spine is in extension. So what does that mean for you as a golfer is that you don't want to set up into your swing with a rounded spine. So how do you ensure that when your spine's behind you and the ball's in front of you? Well, take your club and with the club head pointing back, align the club with your sacrum at the bottom, your spine in the middle, and the back of your head. Hinge from your hips as you did with the stretch, and then bring the club back into your swing position. And there you have a really great posture at address that's going to give you maximum rotation. Tip number 3. With tip number 3, it's how you pick up the ball repeatedly that could aggravate arthritis in the hip and knees and or increase the risk of spinal fractures with osteoporosis. If we're constantly bending down and compromising our posture through our spine, or our knees just don't like all that bending, well, that was obviously an issue for somebody a long time ago, and they developed what's called the golfer's lift. With the golfer's lift, you want to place your club a good 2 feet away from you on the leg that you're choosing to weight bear on. So your strongest leg, the leg you feel most confident with or you have better balance on, is the leg that you would choose. And then the golfer's lift is really just hinging around the hip, and that allows you to go down and pick up your ball without compromising your posture through your spine, with very little bending in the knee and hip. So, you know, you're getting that rotation through the hip, you're keeping long. It's a nice little way of working on balance through your game. And if you want it to be really good, you could do, you know, the first 9 on the right leg and the second 9 on the left. And you'd have a really balanced game. Tip number 4 is how you position your feet at address. And so for those of you with arthritis and even osteoporosis in the hip joint, then you want to be more mindful of how much rotation you have. If someone said to you, oh, you know, you're really tight in your internal rotation, this would be something you would feel if when you go to do your golf swing and you're going back and you're like feeling like you can't move very well through the hip joint. It's because the femur stays still and the pelvis is rotating, but one relative to the other. This is internal rotation at the hip joint, and that internal rotation is necessary to come into the backswing. And so if you're lacking that internal rotation, one tip you could do is to place your foot ever so slightly further out. And that's going to allow you to still rotate, but with less stress on the hip joint. In the same way, if your limitation is on the swing through leg and you're a right-handed golfer, therefore the left hip, then if your limitation again is internal rotation, which tends to be one of the bigger limitations with arthritis of the hip, then you would want to position your foot towards your target. So that would just essentially mean that both your feet are turned out a little bit more when you position yourself to allow you a freer swing through and less wear and tear on the hip joint. So I hope that these 4 tips gives you many more years of enjoyable golf. And I would also like to thank the general manager at Anderson Links Golf Course in Ottawa for the generosity of letting me film here. So if you're in the area, I hope you come out and enjoy the course. I'm Margaret at Amelia Guide. Have a lovely day.